Get the fuck out of bed, bitch. Go. Get up, and they got go. Time to wake up, bitch. Get up. Get up. Get up.
got baby face, me big boss man. Me like America, me got good plan. Mexico water, make Gulf US survey. Me make Zelensky say thanks to my face. Me got baby face, me got big cheer. Trump bad, Trump good, me no care. Me write big book, kill billies and stuff. Now me import and wear tie up tough. Me go Yale school, me learn big word. Now me forget everything me heard. Silicon people give me job, me take. Now me like Trump, me make no mistake. Yo, it's JD Advance. Fight walk folk, me say never die. Me protect kids, me born liberal. Him, them, there. America simple, only two gender. Me face, me big boss man. Me like America, me got good plan. Mexico water, make Gulf US survey. Me make Zelensky say thanks to my face.
Too many gender for my agenda. Went on a bender, execo the sender. Might take Panama just like na. Might take Gaza, pop then a plaza.
Vibes, with His Majesty.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome in to CobraCast 199. I am your host, Jeremy Prime, Mage IDOT of Unit 199. Happy to see all of you here on a Monday. How was everybody's weekend? That's what Laughing Man is asking. Well, I was supposed to get up with Laughing Man and have a phone call with him, and I got busy, and now he's mad at me. But I will hit you up, Laughing Man. How was everybody else's weekend? Did you pee in the basement? Did you sell some coffee? Hope your weekend was good. I was watching WrestleMania last night on Locals with the crew. And yeah, like I had to go back and watch the Roman Punk fight because mine kept crashing. My feed kept crashing while we were watching. Plus we were talking over it. I did go back and watch the match in its entirety uninterrupted. And I got to say, it was a pretty great match. It was a pretty great match indeed. Had a lot of fun. Watching it live was terrible because the feed kept crashing. I don't know if that was just a me problem, but I was watching it on my phone and on my desktop, and both my feeds kept lagging up. It was absolutely annoying as hell. But we did cover that over on the G&G Locals. It was nice to hang out. Lots of memes. And good stuff. So Marmillin with $10 and says a pre-stream chat grift tax. Dude, like I feel like you know when I'm going live before I know when I'm going live. He's like the first person that comments, and it's always the pre-stream chat Griftax. Hail the 199. Thank you, Marmillan. On point as always. Stormbreaker says, all hail Cobra Commander Jeremy and King Trump. And then Stormbreaker says, King Trump forever. This I command. Ryan Miller for $20 says, I've been following this operation closely, and it has been an IQ test for everyone. And it's clear to me that people like Megyn Kelly and Alex Jones have failed the pass and resulted to TDS crash outs, and it's pathetic. Honestly, I've got a good breakdown of what to articulate what I think is going on here, and what I've been teasing that I think is going on here, which is to reset the entire global economy. And we're going to talk about that here in just a minute, because someone actually, and this person that made the video, he's not convinced that this is happening, but he believes that this is what's happening, because he keeps saying, if this is true, I believe it is true. And if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. If it was easy, everybody would. But that's why it only takes one man, and it's Trump. He's the only guy that could do this right here. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it. Let's see. Timothy says, why is Iran obsessed with only negotiating with Vance? Do they think he'll just roll over despite him not doing that during the original negotiations? I think that Iran doesn't know what they're doing. I think that there's constant miscommunication. I think there's constant different perspectives coming out of Iran. And I don't think Iran knows what Iran wants or believes at this point. They have no true leadership. They have been decimated. All of their leadership is dead. I don't know who's running the country. I don't know if we know exactly who's running the country at this point in time. Udai says, did you see the thing that Rogan getting Trump to approve the research for, was it psychedelics for mental health, particularly for veterans? I did. I covered it. Joe Rogan will talk shit about Trump on his podcast, talk shit about MAGA, and then as soon as he needs something, he texts Trump, hey, Trump, can you help me? So, yeah, I did see it. I mean, I'm happy that it happened. It just shows the two-facedness of the major podcasters out there. It's just annoying that they lean into things that their audience wants them to say, but the moment they need something, there you go. Hey, Trump, can you help me? Yeah, I'll come shake your hand and smile to your face, but then I'll go on my podcast in front of, millions and millions of people and say how terrible you are. Packy Proton says, just bomb the bridges and power plants and everything they need to survive. You need to get rid of the cancer for the patient to survive. Zihoni says, none of the influencers have the balls to call out Trump directly, none of the influencers have the balls to call out Trump decision directly. So they claim Trump is a slave to Israel when he has been consistent for 50 years. Yeah, I mean, listen, I am convinced that Alex Jones has to be he's either trolling or TDS has broken his brain. It's either one or the other, because Alex Jones has once again addressed Trump, calling for him to be fired. That's right. Alex Jones once again. Here we go.
Well, Trump continues to insanely flip-flop. 28 times he said since this war started that Israel drug us into that we've won the war and it's over. More than 10 times he says that Iran has unconditionally surrendered. He said on Friday they agreed to all of his demands and totally opened the Strait of Hormuz, and of course they hadn't. And now he's reissued the threats to blow up all their bridges and civilian infrastructure. But Israel and the U.S. are already doing that, hitting hospitals, bridges, universities, everything else. This is just beyond insane. And he was drug into it by Israel. The Pentagon told him don't do it. And now Trump hates everybody that was right and warned him about this total disaster that he ran on not ever doing the Iran war. It's just amazing. And no prosecution.
He didn't run on never doing an Iran war. He didn't run on that. He ran on no more forever wars.
Of all the deep state, about the top Democrat lawyer, Todd Blanchett at DOJ, on and on and on and on. And we're supposed to just sit here and love this crap. It's just poll numbers go straight down. And all the polls show the Republicans are going to lose the midterms in 7 months by a landslide. A disaster. A total and complete disaster. Trump is not that stupid. He's made some deal with the deep state to throw the election to the Democrats. That's the only thing this can be. And then everybody keeps calling me and asking me, Alex, what did Trump fire you from? They take it as literal. Last Friday, 2 days ago, he said, "You're fired, Jones."
It literally said fried. He literally said Alex Jones is fried, meaning your brain is fried. And you're doing nothing but confirming that Trump is right once again. Nobody called you, Alex, to ask you what did Trump fire you from, because Trump never said you're fired.
And then everybody keeps calling me and asking me, Alex, what did Trump fire you from? They take it as literal. Last Friday, 2 days ago, he said, "You're fired, Jones," like it's The Apprentice. I don't work for Trump. I didn't want to be on his Trump train. I'm 1776. MAGA just rode in on that. I'm for making America great again, but how about free again? How about honest again? How about not evil again? And so when he does this "you're fired" stuff, it's just junior high crap. Oh, you're not in the cool club anymore. It's absolutely idiotic. I don't want to be in the neocon club with all your former enemies that were never Trumpers and said, "Screw you," Lindsey Graham and all the rest of them, and Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin. I mean, it's just insane. It's totally insane to watch all this happen. And now he just put out the Truth Social, basically a carbon copy. No more Mr. Nice Guy. I'm going to blow up all your bridges and all your power plants. I'm going to huff and puff and blow down your house, Three Little Pigs, if you don't do what I say. And the Strait of Hormuz is still closed.
So, like, people are saying it like people are actually saying Trump didn't say you were fired. He said fried. Like, people are telling him in his comment section that that's what Trump said. So then Alex quote tweets it and says, "Trump did not fire me because I never worked for him. I wish Israel would fire Trump, but because he is such a good servant for them, that will never happen." Like, it's just like, I don't know what the hell is going on. I have no idea. Everybody's saying it, dude. He didn't say you're fired. He said you're fried. So again, Trump is right once again. Alex Jones' brain is fried. Good Lord, man. There we have it right there. So there's a lot more going on, but I wanted to address that off rip because holy shit. Bowman says, "Thanks for the show" over on Rumble. $10. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Bystander Syndrome says, "Well, who cares if Trump loses us the midterms because they're both the same party?" I don't really know what you mean by that. You mean the Democrat Party and the Republican Party are the same party? I mean, I think you're spending way too much time listening to podcasters. Your world has changed since Donald Trump became president. Your life has gotten better. Social media has gotten better. Everything has gotten better since Donald Trump became president. That's just the truth of the matter. And if you can't see that, then I can't help you. But it doesn't mean that everything's perfect. It doesn't mean that everything is wonderful. But we are substantially in a better place now with Donald Trump as president than when Joe Biden was running with the Barack Hussein Obama agenda. That's just a fact. Maybe you're fried like Alex Jones. Let me see here. CPP says Reigns Punk entrance and match was straight fire. Hail the 199. It really was. I got to give them both credit. Again, on rewatch, they both did a really good job. Punk more so than Reigns, and CM Punk, I will continue to repeat, Phil Brooks is a liberal piece of shit that I can't stand, but CM Punk the wrestler, I'm a huge fan of CM Punk the wrestler, and he's well past his prime, but he put it all out there in that match. He did a good job. Little Jim's Halo says, looks like the media won't get to spin or intimidate the jury for Carmelo Anthony trial. They want riots to come from this trial. They love them some riots. They love them some riots. Green Sage says, JD advanced tax. Beastie Man says, happy 420 day, even though I've never smoked that stuff. But still, anyway, hail Jeremy Prime. Mage Ida out of Unit 199. Thank you. Vic Chavez says, Bing chillin'. Hail the 199. Munchie Ninja becomes a new member. Fear the Beardo says, for Beardo's action figure knee pad fund. Tree Bear says, congrats to Epic Miki on his wedding day. That one's rough, man. That one's rough. We're going to address this on Tuesday night's main event, but congratulations to Epic Mike. Epic Mike got married over the weekend. We're gonna address this on Tuesday night's main event, but I'm very, very happy for him. Apparently, I was there to marry the two newlyweds with my what looks to be a rainbow yarmulke. So I don't know, but there's that. All right, so congrats to Miki and his husband. We'll talk about that more for sure. Normal Man says, Trump, Jones is cooked. Alex Jones, what do you mean I'm a chicken? A cock. A cock. What do you mean I'm a cock? That's what Vincent Man hardest hit? Probably. Packy Proton says, still wondering why JD Advance talks like Cookie Monster. Me wonders. Green Sage says, happy 420, everyone. Thank you, Jeremy, for always getting me through a long day at work. Hail the 199. Well, hey, thank you. I appreciate that. Packy Proton says, thanks to Beardo. Benji cast as Rudolph. The campaign worked. Beardo is an evil genius, man. He is an evil genius. Packy Proton says, I didn't follow Alex back in the day. Is there a video of him calling Sandy a fake event, yet he's saying it didn't happen? I don't know exactly what all happened with that whole deal. I mean, Alex has said a lot of crazy things over the years, but I do believe that Alex was made an example of by people, because ultimately Alex Jones' biggest crime over the years is that he was too effective. He was too influential. He had too big of a following on YouTube, and he was too entertaining. That was his biggest crime ultimately. If Alex Jones wasn't entertaining, if Alex Jones didn't have millions and millions of people listening to him, no one would have really cared what he had to say. But because he was so effective, that was his biggest crime. Godzilla's Greasy says, why is it that everyone going against Trump always end up looking worse than he does? It is unbelievable how much that happens. Ministry of Realm says, Loomer completely ended Candace. Holy cow, bro. I saw that over the weekend. Laura Loomer destroying Candace Owens. If we get time, we will get to that. Let's give you a quick update as to what's actually going on right now with Operation Epic Fury. Here we go.
U.S. officials are planning to head to Pakistan for a new round of peace talks, but Iran is reportedly refusing to come to the table. Matt Finn joins us from Islamabad, where American diplomats thought there were talks going to take place. Matt, do you think the Americans are going to come if the Iranians say they're not?
The White House has said, and the president has said, that an American delegation is on the way here to Islamabad, Brian. And security is tightening on the ground here, a so-called red zone forming around a perimeter of the area where the second round of peace talks are expected to happen. But to your point, we don't necessarily have a time and day yet for these talks. State media associated with the Iranian regime claims Iran may not send a delegation here to Islamabad as long as that U.S. blockade remains in the Strait of Hormuz. But Iran's reluctance to publicly confirm could just be posturing or doing their own public relations. A senior White House official tells Fox that Vice President Vance, Jared Kushner, and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff plan to come here to Islamabad. President Trump writing, we're offering a very fair and reasonable deal, and I hope they take it, because if they don't, the United States is going to knock out every single power plant and every single bridge in Iran. No more Mr. Nice Guy. It's time for the Iran killing machine to end. Now, President Trump also says a 900-foot Iranian-flagged cargo ship tried to violate the U.S. naval blockade yesterday. The U.S. destroyer Esperance repeatedly warned the Iranian ship to turn around in a 6-hour standoff before firing at the Iranian ship's engine room.
Vessel Toska, Motor Vessel Toska, vacate your engine room. Vacate your engine room. We're prepared to subject you to disabling fire.
Woo!
U.S. Marines used a helicopter to board that ship, and the president says the U.S. is inspecting what's on board. Now, Iran claims the U.S. violated the ceasefire by firing at a commercial ship. They launched drone attacks on the U.S. military, and they're vowing to retaliate. So hour by hour, we are tracking and monitoring the development of critical peace talks here in Pakistan. We will keep you updated, Brian.
All right, thanks so much, Matt. We'll see what happens.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all.
It's a little bit of the latest of what's going on. So peace talks potentially are set to happen today. We'll see if it actually does happen. But like I said, when you're dealing with a place with like Iran and the Middle East in general, this is what happens, man. These people are crazy. They are extremist. They can't be taken at face value. And this is why Barack Hussein Obama and Joe Biden decided, let's just give them money so we don't have to deal with the headache. Because they don't want to deal with the problem head on. They just want to ignore the problem. And that's not how President Trump operates. And in fact, this is the video that we're going to watch, where people need to understand that Donald Trump is doing something unprecedented. Now, when you do things that are unprecedented, a lot of weak-minded people are going to jump to conclusions. They're going to overreact. They're going to panic because they don't understand that there's a bigger play in mind. And this is going to take a long time for this whole thing to shake out. Now, unfortunately, you have people that are going to stab Trump in the back and make this a lot more complicated than it already is. And that is where the true crime here is. It's not that Iran is being difficult. It's not that Middle East is being difficult. It's not that China or Russia is being difficult. It's that the people that were there for Trump in his 2024 campaign are now, because they gathered a big MAGA audience by pretending to be MAGA, and now they are turning on Trump because it's paying very good. That's the bottom line here. Legalized adulthood for 1996, still recovering from taxpayer-induced rectal bleeding. Dave Rubin called. He said he knows a doctor that can help with that. I bet he can. Oh, I don't want to know about it. Thank you, Legalized Adulthood. Hail to you. Dermy Wormy says, hail all. Dermy Wormy's been crushing it over there on his channel. Mark Andre Roy says, happy Miki. He is very happy. But Glenn Beck uploaded a video that is so on point. Trump's global strategy explained. Here's what he's really doing. Finally, somebody that once had TDS, by the way, but he got rid of it and moved on. Glenn Beck is on point. Let's listen to Glenn Beck. Here we go.
We are looking at the most dramatic and possibly peaceful power shift in modern history. Everything is interconnected.
You hear that? Peaceful power shift. Peaceful.
And Americans aren't looking at that. And I think, I know this part is true because I asked Donald Trump this probably 60 or 80 days into his term. I said, you looked at the post-World War II world and you said, none of this works, didn't you? And you're redesigning all of it. And he said, yes. So imagine, let's start there. A president looks at everything that we had built since 1945, all of the systems that we all know are broken, and he says, none of this stuff works. And so I'm going to dismantle it and change it because, we're funding the world's defense. We're fighting everybody else's war. We're subsidizing our own decline. And Donald Trump is stepping in and going, yeah, we're not going to do that anymore. Okay. If this is right, he is building something historic. He is building a new American economic empire.
Think about this. For people that don't think Trump has a plan, think about this. If this all works out and more of this oil and energy starts flowing through America, why did he change the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America? Perfect branding, perfect forward thinking. Not the Gulf of Mexico, it's flowing through the Gulf of America. There it is.
And here's how he's doing it. Energy dominance, hemisphere security, technical supremacy, a military that is like no military. I mean, I'm actually afraid of our military in a good way, but if it goes dark, it could be a very bad way. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. A reborn manufacturing heartland. This is an economy that is not being reborn, but reimagined for the 21st century. And one that, let's not kid ourselves, is not going to pay down our debt. But the strategy would be to grow the economy to the point to where the debt is less of a problem. Still be a problem, but I'm not sure that even works. But if he is right, it does prevent the collapse of the American dollar on so many fronts. Okay. If this war ends without spreading, and this theory that I'm going to lay out for you, these 6 things, if this is what it is, it will all have been done without the kind of global war that has defined the 20th century. This is America reclaiming its golden age, just smarter, stronger, and sovereign. First, let's start with energy dominance, because without energy, we can't do anything. It's the foundation of everything. Trump, in his first term, made us a net exporter. Okay, never before in human history or American history had that happened. Then in the second term, he unleashed it. Record production, deregulation, National Energy Dominance Council, the LNG exports all exploding. Why? Why is this important to put first? Because energy is leverage, and energy we must have if we're going to be dominant. When we crippled Iran's oil exports and we seized control of Venezuela's massive reserves, we took Maduro in Operation, what did he call that one? Absolute Resolve. And then we put American companies in charge of that. Do you notice the world didn't scramble to the Mideast and that chaos? They began to come to us. Argentina's
and I've already shown the meme for the libertarians in the audience, because libertarians don't have much of ability to think outside of what's right in front of them. They kind of need like crayons and coloring books. So I like to show the meme to the libertarians so that they can understand what exactly Trump is doing here. So for the libertarians, this is what Trump is doing. Okay. This is your like for your crayons and your coloring books. This is what he's doing to China right here. Okay. This is so simple so you can understand it. It's right there in front of you. Okay. So there you have it. Okay. This is how you understand what Donald Trump is actually doing. So hopefully that helps out. Hopefully. I know there's a little too many colors in there for you to understand, but that's what he's doing. Okay.
Fields aligned under our umbrella. And Europe's now one of our biggest buyers. Hundreds of billions in deals for American oil and gas, replacing the Russian supplies. Now that this is happening over in the Strait of Hormuz, and that becomes so unstable, you can track it. You can watch the ships and track them. They are making U-turns in oceans and turning around and coming to American ports instead of going to the Middle East. The world is buying American energy.
Libertarians from 30 years ago are not much cooler. No, they're not. No, they're not. Listen, okay? The internet has not changed the world. The internet has changed how you view the world. Everybody that you think is stupid on the internet was stupid before the internet got here. The internet has just allowed you to see how stupid they are. They were always stupid. They were always retarded, just like the furries out there. The furries were always fucked up and weird. Now we know how fucked up and weird they are. That's ultimately what the internet has done. The internet has not changed the world. The internet has viewed how you view the world, but the world was always fucked up
in ways that we've never seen before. Russia and China are losing their pricing power. So we become the undisputed energy superpower of the 21st century without the Middle East quagmire, if this works. That freedom lets us walk away from being the globe's babysitter. When Donald Trump says, I'm not going to get you into wars, that's what he means. We have to pull out. We can't just leave the world the way it was because we depend on them for too much, for oil and everything else.
Yeah, like the Panikins are the type of people that they'll go into a restaurant, okay? And they'll order, let's say they go to a Waffle House, okay? Panikins go into the Waffle House, okay? Hi, sir, what would you like to order? I'd like to get some eggs scrambled, and I'd like to get some toast and some bacon. Okay, thank you. Same Panikin sitting there looks over across to the kitchen, and they see that the cook breaks the eggs. What are you doing breaking the eggs? And you're like, you asked for scrambled eggs. Yeah, but you're breaking the eggs. How dare you break the eggs? And you're like, in order to cook your eggs, I have to break the egg. That's the Panikin right there.
We can't create a vacuum. We've got to create some framework to keep that stable, and we pull out. And then we become the stable place to be able to have the world buy our energy. Second, with ending the World War II burden and forging real peace through strength, okay? For 80 years, we carried NATO and the Middle East on our backs. Trump came in the first term and said, pay up. And they started to. NATO.
You remember that? I know everybody remembers. I have played that clip. I haven't played it in a long time, though. So let me see if I can play that one, okay? Legendary Trump speech where he called them out to their face. It's one of the best ones ever. Man, where's it at? I should have downloaded that speech. 2017, maybe. Here it is, right here. Here it is. This is true greatness right here.
I have been very, very direct with Secretary Stoltenberg and members of the alliance in saying that NATO members must finally contribute their fair share and meet their financial obligations. But 23 of the 28 member nations are still not paying what they should be paying and what they are supposed to be paying for their defense. This is not fair to the people and taxpayers of the United States. And many of these nations owe massive amounts of money from past years and not paying in those past years. Over the last 8 years, the United States spent more on defense than...
They are so upset that these people have never been called out to their faces. And you can tell how upset they are. They are very, very, very uncomfortable.
All other NATO countries combined. If all NATO members had spent just 2% of their GDP on defense last year, we would have had another $119 billion for our collective defense and for the financing of additional NATO reserves.
So, yeah, there we go. Trump doing what only Trump can do, calling them out to their faces.
Allies put, 5% of their GDP in defense spending. Never happened before. Now, Europe is only stepping up because in the second term, he's made it crystal clear. We're going to defend our hemisphere. You defend yours. And in the Middle East, first term, Abraham Accords. That was the beginning. In the second term, he's built the Council of Peace. Now, this is a new body turning former enemies into partners at the table. Egypt, Saudi Arabia, the UAE. They are now more Israel-friendly than Great Britain ever has been. And when we and Israel struck the nuclear program and the regime, did you notice they stayed on our side? Every nation is playing its role in its own security. It was Bahrain that went to the UN Security Council to ask permission to use force against Iran. Not America, not Israel, Bahrain. Now, America is sitting at the head of the table, but we're not carrying the load alone. And the hundreds of billions that once were flowing overseas now stay at home. We could pay down the debt. We could build factories. It's powering the future if this works.
Now, again, let's be clear. We're talking about Trump trying to reset the entire global economy with the most powerful and evil people in the world, with all of this money and influence. And people like Alex Jones can't even tell the difference between the word fired and fried. But we're supposed to listen to him. Meanwhile, Trump is trying to unfuck the most fucked up thing that we've ever seen, something that no politician would ever touch. But we're supposed to listen to Alex right now, who can't tell the difference between fired and fried.
The third thing is the hemisphere first strategy. This is his 21st century Don Rowe doctrine.
Don Rowe doctrine.
All of this stuff looked random at first. Greenland, everybody's like, what is he doing? Well, first he was securing rare earth minerals. And in the second term, he's secured those from all over the world, taking those minerals from China, breaking China's monopoly, and then locking in a new Arctic sea lane for the future of global trade. Nobody's talking about that. Then he forced the EU to take a stand. When they denied us airspace during the Iran operation, we found out who our real allies are, okay? Which makes the Greenland case even more obvious, even to Europe itself. They're like, oh boy, we're screwed. Panama Canal, what was that all about? To eject the Chinese influence. Cuba, what's that about? We're squeezing them now. Pentagon said yesterday, be ready. We're starting to prepare for things in Cuba.
Yep.
That's getting Russia, Chinese, and all the Marxist lifelines out of, a place 90 miles from our shore. And Venezuela, Maduro is gone. Terror networks are being dismantled. Gangs defunded. Oil now flowing under our umbrella. That is a death blow. To whom? To BRICS. BRICS.
So essentially, like I said, so Trump right now is breaking the eggs, and the Panicans are freaking out because the Panicans want eggs, but they don't want you to break any eggs in order to cook the eggs. They're like, whoa, what are you doing? How can you break eggs? Even though I asked for eggs to be cooked, how can you break anything? You're just supposed to magically snap your fingers and make it happen, President Trump. You're not supposed to actually do anything that offends me.
Russia, China, Brazil, all BRICS wanted to challenge the petrodollar. Well, without Iran and without Venezuela, they can't do it. I mean, this is really genius. If this is the plan, it's genius. Russia and China are kicked out of our hemisphere. I mean, that's what this is all about. Our resources, shipping lanes, borders secure. No more rivals building bases in our hemisphere. And then you have the military restoration. This is the fourth thing. And I would also add the quiet revolution in space that nobody's talking about. Do you remember just 4 years ago, how humiliated we were with the Afghani withdrawal?
One of the most embarrassing things we've ever seen with Joe Biden and that disaster. Remember the videos from that? Remember how horrible that was, how embarrassing that was, how sad you were that this garbage man, this piece of trash, Joe Biden, was running our country, which he wasn't running our country, by the way. Barack Hussein Obama was running our country. But Joe Biden having no brain cells left, was running our country into the ground.
The world was laughing at our hollowed out force, and we had guys in dresses. Trump has completely turned that around in 18 months and built it into the most respected and feared military, I think I can safely say, ever on planet Earth. Precision, strength, and peace through overwhelming power. Then you add this, which nobody is putting into place. The Kennedy Space Center. Why should we go to the moon? Because the coast of Florida is going to be the world's spaceport. No one is really talking about the master plan of what's happening in space. If you go into the show prep today, you're going to find all these stories about how important space is becoming with just, what China is doing to help Iran with satellites. Okay. I'm going to tell you.
It's like a quote from my favorite movie of all time. We used to look up in the sky and wonder at our place in the stars. Now we just look down and worry about our place in the dirt. This is our mentality under Joe Biden right here. This was our mentality under Barack Hussein Obama. Right there. Got to be pioneers. You got to try to look beyond what's right in front of you. We need men that are willing to advance us, not just be complacent and just accept the status quo.
If I have time today, about a space war that is actually going on. I mean, it's like Star Wars up in space right now.
Has Jeremy even seen Interstellar? I've never seen Interstellar. I've been looking forward to checking it out, but I heard it's incredibly overrated from the internet. So I'm not going to watch that crap. I think Christopher Nolan sucks. He's overrated. He's never made a good movie. I'll never watch his shit.
But the moonshot is critical. Record launches, master plans, on track to dominate the moon and the space economy. If you don't understand the space economy, read up on it, because this is like AI. It's an entirely new world, okay? New industries, new wealth, new American leadership in the final frontier. Now 5, declawing China without getting into a war. That's a big one. How do you beat...
Literally, this all points to China, and people are so emotionally broken. And all they see is Donald Trump has abandoned his base. Donald Trump, shut up. You are completely retarded if you believe that. If you are believing the podcast bros, the libertarian bros out there, I can't help you. Nobody can help you at that point in time.
China here. Now 5, declawing China without getting into a war. That's a big one. How do you beat China? Because their plan is 2027 or 2028 to be dominant. How do you declaw them without getting into a war? Well, tariffs, tech controls, reshoring our factories, getting control of the rare earth minerals. All of these things have been done, and America yawns. Plus the $18 trillion of investment for our industrial base. Even if only half of that comes through, that's $9 trillion to build factories here in America. And then you're not going to build them tomorrow, okay? All of this takes time. That's the frustrating part. America First AI, tied to cheap, abundant American energy. So we surge way.
I can't tell. You've said this like a bunch of times now. I can't tell if you're sarcastically responding to my sarcasm or not. But in the event to clear the air, I've never seen Interstellar. I saw a really good movie reviewer break it down for me, and I formulated my opinion based off that. Therefore, I think it's overrated because that's how I judge movies.
ahead of them in the real arms race of this century, AI, while China is getting starved of markets and minerals. Manufacturing boom here at home, but it takes time. Debt could get paid down, but we're not going to. Our plan will be grow our way out of weakness. Okay. 6. This is the one that people are not going to understand for 10 years. I don't think anybody's going to understand any of these. If these things work, I don't think any of us is going to understand them. One day you'll wake up and you'll start to hear people on TV going, Trump was actually really quite smart. He's been dismantling the globalist machine.
This is what's going to happen right here. What he just said is going to happen.
And you'll start to hear people on TV going, Trump was actually really quite smart.
Imagine that. The billionaire, world famous billionaire who has been at the top of the real estate industry for several decades, who was at the top of reality TV for over a decade. The guy that was always making cameos in all of these Hollywood productions. All of Hollywood loved him. All of the news media loved him. Everybody loved Donald Trump until he ran for president. And then he won the presidency, even though everyone doubted him, even though the mainstream media was against him, even though the liberals were against him, even though the conservatives, for the most part, were against him running in his first term. Everybody, social media, big tech, they were all against him, and he still won. Okay? He then has a successful 4 years. They steal the election from him. They try to throw him in prison. They attack his family. They attack his businesses. They attack anyone that was around him. They attacked his supporters. They shot at him multiple times, and he still wins. And you have people going, Trump's not that smart. Like, good Lord, bro. What world are we living in where people are this stupid?
And dismantling the globalist machine. The globalist machine was engineered to manage our decline and eventual collapse. Okay. All of this wiring was put into this engine to be a governor on it, to keep it down, and manage the decline so it would fall into a new system that they were building.
Yeah, because that's the thing is like a lot of the people, the people that believe that Trump is controlled, okay? These are the same people that believe that the world is being controlled by evil people, okay? So on one hand, they believe that the world is being controlled by evil people, okay? But on the other hand, they think that it should be easy for Trump to untangle this. And since it's not easy for Trump to untangle this, they just immediately believe that Trump is controlled by these same evil people that they believe have been controlling everything for decades and decades. I'm trying to understand their logic, but if you truly believe the world has been controlled for decades and decades and decades by evil, powerful people, wouldn't you also understand that it's very complicated to unfuck that? But they think that it would be easy for Trump. Well, if it's easy, so why doesn't Trump just do these things? It's like, because it's a very complicated situation. You can't fix this overnight. You can't fix this with a snap of a finger. There's a lot of moving and shaking that goes on with this. There's a ton to this. It's crazy that they are so dumb to not understand that.
So in the first term, he takes the economy because it's not as governed as it is now. And he brings it so it's roaring back. Okay.
Mr. Bentham, every comment after CobraCast, he's like, Jeremy's so close, he's almost there. He's been saying this for months. And then you see the anti-Israel people will respond, and then they will take his comment seriously. They're like, he's not close. He never understands the Jews. He's being paid. They're so fucking invested. So they take Mr. Bentham's comment as he's one of us. But then they have to come in there and go, he's not close. You don't understand. It's fucking hilarious. Sarcasm is the #1 tool of CobraCast.
Then comes COVID. the perfect crisis for the World Economic Forum's Great Reset. They waited for that. I mean, I think they planned that actually. But
I will say that BC Man says it could be sarcasm with the responses. Actually, you guys have gotten so good at sarcasm. Sometimes I don't even understand it. All right. Some of you have gotten me. Like, some of your sarcasm is even better than mine. And I can't even pick up on this shit anymore.
that was not organic growth again. That was controlled demolition of the American markets and the system that we all have. Open borders, endless regulations, Green New Deals, hollowing out of our industry, a deliberate weakening of American sovereignty so the elites could build the world in the way they wanted to do. Biden's policies just poured.
Correct. Holy crap. Nico for $200 says, did you see the leftists melting down on X over the Pragmata video game? Thank God for Japan and their pushback against the anti-family propaganda that the globalists keep pushing. Alex Jones is stupid and Trump is pushing back against the globalist system like Japan is. 199. I've got to do some research on this game. I've been so focused on politics. There's a couple of video games right now that are getting a ton of traction right now. I've got to check out what's going on around this, and I will look into it further so we can talk about it on Main Event, because I have been seeing there's a ton of stories around that. So thanks for continuing to put it on my radar. I have been seeing there's a lot of discussions, but I don't know exactly what all has been going on with it. So I will check it out. Let's see. JB says Jeremy said he liked The Last Jedi. I didn't say I liked The Last Jedi. I said I loved The Last Jedi. So if you're going to quote me, can you please quote me properly? I loved The Last Jedi. That was what my quote was, sir. Thank you for playing. Please understand, if you're going to quote me properly. Thank you. Okay? I appreciate it. But Nico, thank you so much for the $200 super chat. I'm sure Nico regrets his $200 super chat because I just got called out in the chat by someone over my TLJ take. Fuck. Please, Nico, please keep sending me money, even though that person just exposed me. I don't know how I'm going to recover from this. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how I will ever recover. But thank you so much. I appreciate it, brother.
Gasoline on that fire, and quite honestly, nearly nailed our economic coffin shut. Trump, thank God he didn't win in 2020 because he watched and he learned.
What did I say? Glenn Beck, have you been watching CobraCast 199? A lot of people felt that I was coping when I put that spin on 2020. And I said it. What did I say? For those that were watching back then, what did I say? I said, without The Empire Strikes Back, we do not get Return of the Jedi. 2016 was A New Hope. 2020, The Empire Strikes Back. 2024, Return of the MAGA King. This is how the story plays out. Okay? This is how it plays out. And on top of that, going into 2020, if Trump would have, well, we know he won, but if he would have stayed in office, his vice president was Mike Pence, and he still had the same garbage cabinet that he had before. Not going to work, man. There's no way that Trump could get done what he needed to get done. 2020 was necessary. 2020 had to happen in order to get us to where we needed to go. So that's what Glenn Beck is saying.
Honestly, nearly nailed our economic coffin shut. Trump, thank God he didn't win in 2020 because he watched and he learned. He's nearly collapsed the WEF's entire agenda, but he hasn't killed it. All of these people are waiting to see what happens in the next two elections. He's building this new American empire And he has to simultaneously neutralize the globalist forces that don't want us to be sovereign, don't want us to be dominant. That's why fixing the economy is slower this time. The American economy is a V12 or a V16 underneath that hood. Man, that thing just cooks. When it's right, it cooks. Well, it had been so governed and destroyed by the globalist agenda, it was running on 3 cylinders, and everything else in this thing is almost shot. So he has to rebuild the engine, rip out all of the old wiring, all of the stuff that they broke or intentionally put in there to slow it down, to keep us dependent and not dependent and not declining. I'm telling you, if this is true, this is huge.
It is true, Glenn. This is exactly what he's doing. This is exactly what Trump is doing. And again, for the libertarians, we have some coloring right here. So this is what he's doing right here. He is basically resetting everything. He's taking China's ability to control everything away from them. Okay. So there you go. This is what's happening.
And the problem is, the biggest battle is with us.
Yes.
Because if you don't see this vision, you don't know where we are, and you won't understand how critical it is to keep the power that we have, to secure the House and the Senate and the White House. Have to. And you have to do it, even if Congress does nothing. Honestly, even if they do nothing, you have to keep this going for the next term. Otherwise, I mean, long-term institutions, all entrenched bureaucracies, the globalist networks, the NGOs, the legacy media, they're all just holding on until 2028, praying that the plan stalls, okay? If we lose now, the old schemes come raging back with a vengeance. This is the final play. That's why I said at the beginning of the hour, in 20 years, 10 years, historians are going to look back and say that was the moment America turned the corner, or that was the moment it died. If you don't do any of the stuff that he's doing now, the big, huge structural changes globally, you can't fix the economy. If you're not willing to do that, all he has to do is he has a few levers that he can play with to get us to rev up a little bit.
Which is what every president before him has done. Every president before him is just doing, it's like, and bring retail into it, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, another retail story. Once upon a time, when you work for a big organization, a big corporation, okay? You have this kind of idea that once you get into upper management within the store, you have some control. No, you don't. You don't have any control. Even as the store manager of a big company that is part of a corporation, you do not have control. There's the illusion that you have control, but you have no control. And this is the equivalent of what every president before Trump has been. Every president has been the same thing as a store manager in, say, a Walmart. Okay? Now, can that store manager make any true changes? No. That store manager can only make the changes that the corporate structure allows him to make, because there are so many moving parts. There's so many people making decisions over his head that there is he can only do the basics. You can't actually make any wholesale changes to that store. Like, for instance, store manager at Walmart. The perception is he controls everything. No, he doesn't. Can that store manager change the sign out front that says Walmart to something else? No, he doesn't. He doesn't have the ability. He doesn't have the power. He does not have any power to do that. Can he make a decision to go, hey, there's a McDonald's here, and I would rather put a Shake Shack or an In-N-Out burger? He has no power to do that. He doesn't even have the power to change end cap space. What I mean by end cap is like at the end of an aisle, you have end cap space. So let's say there's Kraft mayonnaise on the end cap. He doesn't even have the power to change that. He doesn't even have the ability to do that because that is a corporate mandate that Kraft mayonnaise goes there. That's what a president has done over the past, for our lifetimes. They've been able to change little things here and there to give you this illusion that they know what they're doing, that they are in control, but they have not been in control. President Trump is changing all of that up. Every single bit of it, Trump is changing it. And it's a complicated situation. Dougie B for 199 or for 100. Dougie B 199 for 100. I'm sorry. Jeremy worked retail. Next, he'll claim he's a certified forklift driver. Listen, I don't want to brag. But might have driven a forklift or two in my day. Whew. The ladies love the forklift drivers, okay? Now, listen, I know you're probably thinking, a forklift driver. No, you don't understand. Forklift driver, win. It doesn't matter what you look like. The moment you become forklift certified, in the eyes of the ladies, you are Brad Pitt. That's how it works, okay? In the eyes of the ladies, the moment they find out that you're forklift certified, you become Brad Pitt in their eyes. And they're like, whew, he's forklift certified and he plays video games? Nonstop, man. The ladies love the forklift drivers. They really do.
But it's not going to last. You've got to do these big, huge things. And then comes the economy. That's just my view. I could be completely wrong. But we have to be crystal clear. I mean, I could be black-pilled and say this is all just chaos. I don't think it is. It's too, when you step back and look at it, it's too orchestrated. It all would fall in our favor if it works. So it's like saying, yeah, humans, we climbed out of the premortal slime. You can believe that. I just don't think that makes any sense. Energy powers AI and factories. Hemispheric security protects, our supply chains. The Middle East and NATO pullbacks free our budget and our boys. The Council of Peace proves a new model, shared responsibility. By the way, I haven't had a chance to tell you about what's happening with Lebanon. On Lebanese television today, for the first time, there is a Lebanon flag and an Israeli flag behind the anchor. And Israel is now telling Fox News this morning that the negotiations that are going, not only for peace, but they may end in the Abraham Accords. You get them into the Abraham Accords, all bets are off. Everything changes. It proves, to me at least, that part of this is right. You have Greenland and space securing the future. You have the war against the globalist reset to ensure that none of this gets reversed. Every single move this guy has made connects if you look at it from a bigger point of view. So, 25 years from now,
I have to make this point once again. Glenn Beck suffered from TDS a long time ago, and he's acknowledged this. Glenn Beck is one of the only people that had real TDS and truly has overcome it. I got to give him props for that. It's major props. And I didn't realize just how much he had overcome this, but he really did. He had straight up TDS, and he's one of the few examples of people that has completely overcome his TDS. Credit where credit is due.
Was it chaos? Maybe. Did we finish this? Maybe. But I think they're going to look back, if he's successful, and say, you know what? He played the long game. He ended America's era of the world sucker. He took the Great Reset. He built an economic empire that rivals our greatest golden age. Energy, AI dominant, military supreme, hemispheric security, financial independence. You don't fight wars. You know, we're not.
That's the thing too, is look how quickly Trump rebuilt our military. Why? Because in order to get everything done that Glenn Beck has mapped out here in the order in which it's being done, what is the number one thing we got to have? It wasn't going to happen with Joe Biden's military. You got to have the United States military at full force in order to accomplish the goals that Trump needs to accomplish. And a lot of that is the perception, the fear. Because you have, on one hand, you do have the most powerful military in the history of the world. But on the other hand, the commander-in-chief, in a lot of people's eyes, he's unpredictable. They don't know what he's going to do. And Trump loves the idea that people think he's crazy. They think he's insane. And he leans into that as leverage.
Paying their bills. We don't have to worry about taking some World Economic Forum's orders. We lead, we win, we thrive. The moves might look scattered, but if I'm correct, this is vision. This is what vision. We haven't seen vision like this. I've never seen this in my lifetime. This is vision, if I'm correct. And it is a long-term play.
Thank you for thinking for yourself and being part of a movement.
There we have it.
Because that's really what all of this is.
So good stuff right there from Glenn Beck. This video is titled Trump's Global Strategy Explained, What He's Really Doing. So if anybody's looking to send that to somebody who can't really understand this, I recommend that. But I agree with Glenn Beck. This is kind of what, let's remember my path to trying to understand this. Because the narrative is that I blindly follow whatever Trump says because people are retarded and they don't do any research. I did not love this Iran situation when it first started. And I said as much. I'm like, I don't like it. I don't like that we're there. I wish this was not happening. I hate this. But I hope that whatever Trump's goal is, he gets this accomplished. He accomplishes this as soon as possible. Get us out of there. Then the more I start looking into them, like, hang on just a minute. Wait a minute, Venezuela. Wait a minute, Iran. Wait a minute, oil. Wait a minute, Strait of Hormuz. Oh, wait a minute. This is a lot more than what is right in front of us. Trump actually has a long-term plan, and he's trying to reset the global, order. Renaming the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Cuba being next. Oh, Trump actually knows what he's doing. Yeah, okay. There we go. Now you're seeing other people start to pick up on it. So very, very good video from Glenn Beck right there. Very good video indeed. Scully for 50 says, hail to 199. Have you seen the latest Baby Trump video? Hilarious. Walmart even has to ask corporate if they can close during a snowstorm. You are correct. I haven't seen the latest one, but I will check it out. And yes, you are correct. The store manager doesn't even have the ability to close a fucking store. He doesn't. He has to wait for corporate to tell him. This is the illusion that they make you think they're in charge, but they truly are not in charge of anything. They are very, very high paid employees with the ability to make a few extra decisions. That's what a store manager is. But it's all within the rules that corporate have set for them. They cannot step outside of that because if they do, they will be fired. Thank you, Scully. Hail to you. JMNZZ450 says currently Alex Jones sounds like 2015 Glenn Beck and Glenn Beck sounds like 2017 Alex Jones. God had the snake pit sense of humor. The best memes. Yes, that is crazy that you are 100% accurate. Jones sounds like 2015 Beck, and Beck sounds like 2017 Jones. Holy shit, that's accurate. That's scary how accurate that is. Steven says, life imitates art. Tax. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Hail to you. Let's see where we're at. Miniature Ron thinks says, this is why the isolationist right are stupid at turning against Trump. Everything he's doing is making us globally independent. They are indoctrinated by foreign bots who want us defanged and docile. Yeah, docile. Yes. And look, this is nightmare fuel, what I'm about to show you, okay? Nightmare fuel. First, I got to get Scully's 50. Says, do you think Trump is making a plan for 2028 now if he wants to stay in office, does not get in? I really don't know. Listen, I know it's really easy to dismiss the idea of Trump 2028, and a lot of us are just like, oh, he's just trolling the media. I don't think he's trolling, man. I really don't. I think Trump is going to try to run in 2028. I really do. I'm just telling you, I don't know how he's going to try to pull this off. I don't know what his play is. I'm just saying I will not be surprised if Trump runs in 2028. I don't know how the hell he can pull this off. I don't know what way he's going to try to work this. I do believe that the 2020 election being stolen is going to be a big piece to however he leverages that. But in order to even get in the position, he's got to pull off everything he's going to pull off. So I don't know, man. I just, all I'm saying, and it does sound crazy when I say this out loud, but I do believe that he is going to try to run in 2028 in some way, shape, or form. That man literally looks like Jeremy in 25 years. Glenn Beck can't. How old is Glenn Beck? How old is Glenn Beck? Beck age. How old is he? He's 62. Well, I'm closer to him than you would think. So I'm not that far off. But yeah, so Trump 2028. I don't necessarily, I don't know how far Trump thinks ahead. But looks like shit for 62. I think Glenn Beck just doesn't like I think a lot of people are I think a lot of people have been fooled by the internet. Glenn Beck clearly has enough money to color his hair and make his look different if he wanted to. There's a lot of people that are his age that are prominent in the media that will do anything to change the look of how they really do look in order to give the illusion that they look younger than they really are. And I don't think Glenn Beck is doing that. Like for instance, for me, I've shown you when I turn the fucking filter on, it makes me look younger than I have no filter on right now. Simple button click and you can turn a fucking filter on and make yourself look a lot younger than you are. But that's the magic of the internet. I don't think Glenn is worried about that shit because he could, but he just basically looks like Tim Allen's Santa Claus. So Jeremy, don't turn the filter on. That's only from OnlyFans. I have an OnlyFans. I'm going to turn the filter on. So yeah, I'm going to start an OnlyFans. And the only thing I'm going to do on my OnlyFans is I'm just going to do CobraCast with the beauty filter on. It's the same show, but I'll just turn the beauty filter on. And I'm like, that's my OnlyFans. I just do CobraCast with the beauty filter on. So the Planet Will says, on the real, what would it take to set up a forklift rally obstacle course between you and Gary? Marinate on that. I have ideas. I don't know if Gary can drive a forklift. I mean, maybe he can. I don't know. I haven't driven a forklift in, I don't know, over a decade. I haven't driven one in over a decade. I could get right back on one and figure it out in no time, but it's been a long time since I don't know if Gary's ever driven one. I mean, how about just Gary play a video game, like just that. I mean, let's start out small and work our way up to forklift. Okay. Ryan Miller says, I honestly couldn't imagine if Kamala won in 2024. It would have been an absolute shit show, and all the things that have happened so far would have never happened. Thank God that Trump won. 100%. Absolutely. Mar Millen says Glenn was a heavy drug user, so he looks good considering his past. Was he a heavy drug user? I didn't even know that. I had know that. I was not even aware of that. BMCCB says BMCCB for 10. That's all he says. That's all he says. 8 o'clock says, imagine if future leaders follow in Trump's example, wanting to push their nations to the top instead of just trying to control their people for their own motives. It's crazy. So, like, it is demoralizing sometimes when you think about it, because, like, for instance, if you look at something like, go back and look at what Walt Disney's vision was for his company and for his theme parks. Go look at it. It's an incredible vision. And that's why he created such an empire, because the core foundation of what he wanted, he created it. Now, decades and decades later, a lot of people kept his vision alive. You know, his family, and then Michael Eisner took over, and the Disney decade kind of saved the Walt Disney Company. But eventually, your vision gets into the hands of corrupt people like Bob Iger, like the current Walt Disney Company. And if Walt Disney was able to see what his vision has become, he would be disgusted. For instance, Walt Disney's one of his primary rules was that the Magic Kingdom would be a dry park. And what that means is no alcohol. It's not the case anymore. They have alcohol in the parks now. Why? Why would you put alcohol in the parks? Why would you break that core rule of what Walt's vision was? Money. Because they don't care about the vision. It's sad. It's so sad to see that that's what it's become, so far away from his vision. And so you can only hope that whatever happens after Trump, whether he's there in 2028, whether he is not, you can only hope that the people that are in place can carry out his vision. And time will tell. Time will tell. But yeah, that's going to be the goal, is to get the right people in place. And I think J.D. Vance is great. I think Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth are awesome. I think they can make a very strong cabinet. But I also know that they are in a position right now because Donald Trump takes up all of the attention. Once there's no Trump and JD is the top guy, Marco Rubio, once they have to take all of the arrows and all of the firepower and all of that money that is spent to take Trump down, once all of that shifts to these guys, I don't know what that looks like. And this is where so many people lack the vision, where they just, and again, this is nothing against JD Vance. Love JD. But we don't know what JD Vance is going to do when he has to take everything that Trump deals with. We have no idea. DeSantis is a classic example of this. DeSantis in my state of Florida was a rock star. Unmatched rock star. He was crushing it. He would get up there, he would hammer the media, he would take on Disney, he would take on everybody. As soon as he got on the national stage and he went up against Trump, he looked like the biggest fool we have ever seen. It's so embarrassing what DeSantis did to himself. So we don't know what this looks like, and that has to be noted. Ugly Duckly says, I told you Trump is destroying the system that Alex has been crying about for 20 years, and he only complains. He's a fraud and doesn't deserve any defense anymore. Beck sees it, but Alex is stupid. I can't defend anything. I mean, I can't challenge anything you just said. You're 100% right. I can't challenge a word you just said. Dermy Wormy says he deleted the video. Dermy Wormy is crushing it, man. I can't wait to see your new video you got out. Marmillan says it's often missing that clip, and it needs to be hammered home. 23 of the 28 countries were not meeting their fair share. Remember that next time Chinadians brag about free health care. Yes, sir. You know it. You know it. I know it. Absolutely. Okay, so this is nightmare fuel, okay? This is like a horror movie. But have you guys ever seen Tucker Carlson and his brother together? Well, it's nightmare fuel, okay? This is scary. It's like Tucker talking to Tucker in 20 years. This is crazy stuff right here, okay? This is some wild stuff. Here we go.
What kind of speeches did you write for Trump?
Rally speeches early on.
I didn't even know you were doing that.
The entire world seems like it's crumbling all the time. Seems like we live during the Twilight Zone, during the Biden administration. I mean, everything was like a daily offense. Really, could that be happening? And there are no adults around?
Well, I was watching Ben Shapiro the other day, and he said, if you can't find a job in the town you're from, where your parents are buried, where you spent your whole life, that's on you. Like, who do you think you are?
The chat is going crazy right now.
You think you deserve to live in the town you grew up in just because your parents are buried there and your grandparents built it? Honestly, the gall,
the entitlement. When you start thinking about the things that Trump had done, especially when you're looking back now on the incredible, not just betrayal, but his sense of...
Maybe it's inevitable that you get, once the patriarchy has been overthrown, as it has been,
yes,
you get a president like this, who's emotional, all about himself, is perpetually the victim.
Epstein wasn't real. Epstein was a pedophile. He didn't have any victims. And then, of course, he turned up.
Please make that impersonator the third brother. Yeah, dude, like... What the hell is even that? This is scary stuff right here, man. Terrifying.
On Marjorie Taylor Greene, and thank God for her, because she got there and discovered what a captured institution it is. And then to see Trump turn on her and treat her the way that he treated her.
She texted Trump and she said, my son is getting threats because...
Again, so you're running with this bullshit narrative that she won't back. By the way, why won't she show the receipts? Why won't she show the receipts if the president of the United States of America, the most powerful man in the world, the man that Marjorie Taylor Brown says is unhinged and has lost his mind, she claims that he's unfit for office. Why wouldn't you show these texts? Why wouldn't you show exactly what you're accusing him of? Why didn't Piers Morgan ask her? Why won't you show it? Why isn't Tucker Carlson asking, why don't you show it? Because it's not about the truth. It's about the narrative that can be built.
I've disagreed with you on the Epstein files. And Trump responded to her by text message and said, he deserves it. It's your fault. People are threatening the kid's life. And Trump says, no. You brought this on him. It's on you.
It's disgusting.
The music is even like terrible. It's terrible. It's awful. Scary as hell, man. What the hell are we doing? And then you got Alex Jones here. He uploaded this video, okay? I don't know if he's trying to own it. I don't know what he's trying to do, all right? But, like, this is... Alex Jones is wearing the low IQ Tucker hat. No, he's not. What is going on, man?
The truth is, I don't have a low IQ, Trump, and I actually study all these issues. All of this was war gamed. All of this was known. Pentagon said 90% chance of failure. But Trump told Tucker Carlson back at the time, he said, everything always goes my way. If she said, it'll turn out okay for me. Well, yeah, because you had the American people backing you and because you had a lot of energy and we admired the old Trump. The new Trump is completely out of his mind. So I'm very honored that he attacked me again on Friday and said that I'm fried and all the rest of it, because I don't want to be associated with this disastrous situation that's unfolding at all. Because when somebody who doesn't know what they're doing tells somebody who's on
what is happening, dude? Oh my goodness.
record being right, they got a low IQ. Well, that's where I want to be. Truth is, I don't have a low IQ, Trump, and I actually study all these issues. You may know all about real estate and you and Ludwig how to insider trade on all your different economic announcements. But at the end of the day, buddy, the military told you not to do this, and Israel, Netanyahu, lied to you. Thank you for your...
Why does anybody... Oh, man. What are we doing? How is this helping? Like, how is this a benefit? There's no joke to be had there. I've talked about this many times. Like, we have the IDOT hat because it says IDOT. It doesn't say idiot. It says IDOT. So it creates a conversation for people to go like, what does IDOT mean? And then you go like, oh, it's a funny name. You know, somebody meant to call this YouTuber guy a idiot and they misspelled IDOT. So then we call ourselves IDOTs. Oh, haha, that's funny. You walk around with a low IQ hat. That doesn't create a conversation. It doesn't create any questions. People just like, why is this guy wearing a low IQ hat? What's wrong with him? Like, you think the person's just mentally retarded. So it's just like a warning. There's no question. There's no conversation to be had from this. What the fuck is wrong with them? Jesus. TDS is a hell of a drug, okay? He should wear a TDS hat. That is absolutely correct. Good Lord, man. Norman Man says, if the Iron Sheik was alive, Trump should have sent him with the delegation and deliver the camel clutch with the Iranian negotiations. Hell yeah. A-Rod says, Panikins need eggs in a carton. Phil says, Miki Lurker tax, libertarians are the vegans of politics, gay and rides the short bus. Fear the Beardo says, I DM'd you the Beardo action figure to meme for Tuesday's main event. Hell yeah. Gen X Memory says, Jeremy, any chance the gas will be under $2 again like it was in Trump's first term? I mean, as a person who has to put premium in my vehicles, I hope so. But I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I truly do want this to happen, but time will tell. If this all works out to Trump's advantage, then yes. Like, if what he's doing, if he gets all of this energy and oil that's flowing through the Gulf of America, then absolutely. But it's going to take time to get there. Let's see here. Cole Haller says Valerie Jarrett was in charge of Obama. I know you said Obama. Gen X Gamer says this is MAGA World Order. MWO F the NWO. Cole Haller says the master plan. Austin made me do it. Mr. Bedlam says you should watch Jeremy. I hear it's good. Yeah, Interstellar. I'm never going to watch it. Overrated garbage. The internet told me it was overrated. So, Mr. Benham says, ask Gary. He knows about the wormhole in the movie. Tank says, Trump NWO. No, I'm not. Says libertarians want to be the Dark Knight Joker so bad. They expect us to delete our politicians and any government employee, but complain about collateral overseas. Yep. Heavy D says D-Day Cobra is the greatest Mossad agent to live. Little Jim Halo says this was supposed to be 7,000, but Mossad. How am I supposed to survive if you're not giving me my $7,000, Mossad? The hell are we talking about? Anne Hathaway was the worst performance in that movie. Everyone else saw it. I thought Anne was, listen, I just have a baseline rule that Anne Hathaway is going to be great in anything Anne Hathaway's in because Anne Hathaway is Anne Hathaway. Okay. She doesn't even need to talk. Okay. As long as Anne Hathaway is there, I'm happy. Okay. Skywalker DFS says, Jeremy, what are your expectations with women? What are your experiences with women in charge in retail? All the ones I worked with were very low IQ. I was the man with the forklift. Women in retail in charge. Before I was off the market, I had a couple of good experiences with women in charge in retail. I'll just leave it at that. There we go. Cap and Cheese says, I hope Jeremy's lolcow arc revolves around retail. Damn right. Heel Refs says, I could have been a contender. I could have been a forklift driver. You damn right. Taco Woman Sandy Ravage says, black pillars are grandstanding crybabies. Jay Landmaster says, my wife proposed to me after I got forklift certified. That's all it takes. That's all. Get forklift certified, get laid the next day. Simple as that, okay? You know, it's funny because Stone Cold Steve Austin, he says that if he was not, if he didn't become a wrestler, he would be a forklift driver. I'm like, my man. Heavy D says, what does Glenn Beck, why does Glenn Beck look like Ron Perlman? MacGyver says, Trump 2028. Primark Vulcan says, the reason Glenn Beck looks like shit for 62 is because he's openly stated he's a recovering alcoholic. Well, there you have it. Predon Corpse says, hey, Jeremy. Predawan Corpse here. Roadkill was better with the barbecue sauce. Also, thanks for the roast on Flashcast, you fucker. Lol, it was so good. Well, when he called you Predawan Corpse, I was like, Predawan Corpse? And I was like, listen, I can't say anything. I screw up names all the time. Marmellin says, AI has gone too far. Talk about the Tucker clip. Scary stuff. Aaron James says, April 2027 G&G cruise suggestion. Check out the band lineup for summer of 99 cruise. Creed to start with. Thoughts, Jeremy in chat? Oh, God, if we get Creed, man, it would be the greatest thing ever. What are you talking about? Let's do that. Creed, you want to play on the G&G cruise? That'd be awesome. Taco Woman Sandy Ravage says, Tucker's brother looks like Jay Leno with a rubber Tugger mask on. Oh my God. Now I got to pull it. Oh my goodness. This is the most accurate description I've ever heard in my life. Holy shit. 10 out of 10 right here. I can't unsee it. Me either. I cannot unsee this now. This is wild. Woo! Now that is that's some stuff right there. Very, very good call out. Jeez, internet's undefeated, man. Heavy D says, oh, hello, Jeremy. These Chinese, a man named Marjorie sent me. We pay better than Mossad. You buy? Email me. Hell yeah, man. I'm a free agent right now. Mossad did not re-up my contract, so I'm a free agent. Scully for another 50 says, may we see the damn video for a laugh. Don't care how many times I see it. I laugh every time. Can you tag me in the newest one you're talking about? I don't know if you're on Twitter. Hang on. Let's see. Yeah, you'd have to tag me in the newest one. Let me see. I'm looking for it right now. And these baby Trump videos. That's what we're talking about, chat. Because I'm looking to see. I don't know if I have the account that's posting them for the newest ones. So feel free to tag me in it. Jared didn't know. Didn't know. I'm looking right now, though. I mean, we can play this one.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President, for the question. Deliberate attacks on civilian infrastructure violate the Geneva Conventions and international law.
Who are you with?
I'm with the New York Times. Zolan from the New York Times. Are you
The failing.
Are you concerned?
Circulation way down at the New York Times.
Are
What's
you
going on
concerned
with it?
that your threat to bomb power plants and bridges amount to
No,
war
not at
crimes?
all. No, no. I hope I don't have to do it. But again, I just said 47 years they've been negotiating with these people. They're great negotiators, and because they're not going to have a nuclear weapon. And if somebody that takes my place someday is weak and ineffective, which possibly that will happen because we had numerous presidents that were weak, ineffective, and afraid of Iran. We're never going to let Iran have a nuclear weapon. And if you think it's okay for people that are sick of mind, that are tough, smart, and sick, really sick, from a policy standpoint.
I like how he was going to say ideological. I think is what he was going to say, and he messed up. So I remember during the press conference when that happened, and Trump backed off real quick, changed the word.
Sick. So if you think it's okay for people that are sick of mind, that are tough, smart, and sick, really sick, from a policy standpoint.
This sounds like me reading a super chat, getting to a word that I can't say, and I just skip that shit because I'm like, I ain't trying to say that shit. That's what Trump just did right there.
From smart and sick, really sick, from a policy standpoint, from a any which way you want to say, mentally, these are disturbed people. If you think I'm going to allow them, and powerful and rich, to have a nuclear weapon, you can tell your friends at the New York Times, not going to happen.
That means violating international law.
Quiet. You no longer have credibility at the New York Times. Because the New York Times said, oh, Trump won't win the election, and I won in a landslide. I won every swing state. New York Times said, oh, Trump won't win the election. New York Times has no credibility. The credibility they have is it used to be all the news that's fit to print. The old gray lady, it was great, but they're running on past fumes, and you can't keep doing that. You have to be able to give the correct news. And people like you, who I know, are fake. You're fake.
Oh, man. You guys have to thank Scully for that one. Good call out. I don't know if that's the one you wanted to play, but that was really good. So good stuff indeed from Scully. So thank you for that. That was freaking hilarious, man. And then that was the perfect one, too, at that press conference because that was so funny. John freaking Murdoch for 50 says, hey, Jeremy, sorry, but I can't afford you. Afford you. I'll let Mossad and Russia get in the bidding battle for you. John, you giving up that quickly? After all we've been through? Like, I even took Sunday off because I knew I don't want to force John to have to send a 50. Oh, wait, he doesn't send them on Sundays. And now it's over? You're just going to give up on me that quickly? I kind of respect it. Cobra Commander for 10 says, I have a theory. How do you keep Republican voters engaged in the process when they run all three houses? How do you also draw people in from the other side to start listening? Conspiracy psyop? You might be onto something, Commander. You might be onto something. Jeremy's an expensive date. Yeah, probably. But that's an interesting theory, Commander. I love your screen name, by the way. McCog says when Jeremy passes gas, he comes a little also. God. Free drunk 3PO. Yeah, so Jay's got some weird stuff going on with his channel. So we got the Welcome to Rebellion channel. It's a little weird of what's going on with his channel. I talked to him earlier, so we're just trying to let YouTube work it out. I don't understand what's happened with his channel, but I think this is a clear reminder. It's a clear reminder that follow Jay, follow me, and any of your other creators on alternate platforms, because right now the biggest problem with YouTube, in my opinion, is the AI system. The AI system is very, very inconsistent, and it's scary. So again, Rumble, Kick, all these other platforms, follow your favorite creator over there. You never know what's going to happen, because we are at least within the fellowship in the 199, we are more audience controlled than any community that I know of. Like we will, if our audience stops supporting us, we're done. And that's just the simple truth of it. But I think that's the best way to be. That's the best way to have a community, because you don't want to be reliant upon advertisers or anything like that. Advertisers are good to have, and we have a few, but the audience is who makes or breaks what we do. And that's a good feeling to have. Audience driven, not controlled. Correct. That's exactly it. Packing Protest says, breaking, Blockbuster returns. Don't get my hopes up. John freaking Murdoch says, yep, I gave you too much. If I knew you were going to be a free agent, I would have saved up my pennies. Damn. You guys are witnessing the end of a moment here. Like, this is a historic moment. John Murdoch is done in the most John freaking Murdoch way, where he gives me $50 every time he makes a comment to tell me he's no longer supporting me. Make it make sense. Thank you, John freaking Murdoch. Incoherent Name says, did Tucker seriously just criticize Trump for being emotional? Tucker is the most emotional clown in the podcast sphere, and that was before he had TDS. It's really weird, man. Debased Wizard says, as a fellow Interstellar fan, check out The Expanse. It's interesting because, Gary recently rewatched Interstellar. He still had issues with it. I called him and yelled at him about it. But Gary loved the first few seasons of The Expanse. And I've heard really good things about the first few seasons of The Expanse, but I heard it fell off towards the end. So we'll see. Now, to Gary's point, or to his credit, because the one thing I yelled at him about was he said that that the future humans were creating the black hole in Interstellar. That's what he said on his stream with the Y-Files. He misspoke, because he says, no, I meant the wormhole. I'm like, okay, because they didn't create the black hole in Interstellar. The black hole is a naturally occurring phenomenon in the movie. The wormholes were created by future humans, not the black hole. That is a whole different ballgame. So he said he didn't mean that they created the black hole. I was like, okay, because you misunderstand this, Gary. But anyway, he said he didn't mean it like that. But yeah, Gary speaks very highly of The Expanse. The first 2 to 3 seasons are great. I've heard really good stuff about it. John freaking Murdoch says, oh, sorry, Jessica. Happy Jessica. Ever watched 2001, 2010 Space Odyssey? 2001 Space Odyssey I've absolutely seen. One of the greatest movies ever made. And I think a lot of what Nolan was doing with Interstellar, it was heavily inspired by 2001 and Contact and other movies. The local Rex says the cruelest thing God ever did to humanity was to create TDS, but didn't make it terminal. Hail, brother. The Base Wizard says, I've been saying it for months that all of these operations against Venezuela, Iran, Cuba have been essential in securing our dominance. 5D chess. Well, and I've said many years, like as a Trump supporter, as a Trump fan, I've never been really big on the whole Trump operating on 4D, 5D chess, all of that. I've never, ever been big on that. I think Trump operates generally on instincts. I do believe that. But I also think that Trump understands that certain things that he wants to do requires next level thinking, and restructuring the global economy takes a lot more than just instincts, a lot more. And so you have to understand that and I do believe that he understands that. Packy Proton says Blockbuster announces plans to reopen brick and mortar stores. Tagged you on Tweety. That's crazy if they're going to do that. I'll have to look into that. Andy Plays Game says there are 2 large and good reasons to watch Brokeback Mountain. Anne Hathaway. Is Anne Hathaway in Brokeback Mountain? I've never seen Brokeback Mountain. Is Anne Hathaway in that? There's no way. Anne, is she in Brokeback Mountain? What? And she shows her boobs? Anne Hathaway shows her boobs? Are we kidding? Like, are we for real here? I did not know this. What? Don't fall for it. I've never seen Brokeback Mountain. And I'm not looking to watch it now. But I'm looking to look up a certain scene with Anne Hathaway. I'm not watching that fucking movie, but I'll look up that scene. Grandis Potato says, I'm fork life certified and I'm not swimming in it. Vlad the Bad says, Jeremy, I think you are part of the ice. I have seen you in the streets out there on the ice. You arrested my grandma. Not cool. Tay for $1. Thank you. Eric John says, Trump playing checkers jumps over 3 enemies and says, king me. That's Trump right there. Holy shit. Lots of super chats on Rumble. Thank you guys. Okay, so Bystander Syndrome says, a great reset, one might say. Well, who cares if Trump... Oh, I got that one. Bystander says, never forget this D-Day Cobra. Mark Levin will always be more MAGA than you. So saith Trump. Yeah, I mean, I don't really care. Like, I think this is one of the weird things about this, okay? Your comment says that never forget this D-Day Cobra. Mark Levin will always be more MAGA than you. So saith Trump. I don't care what Trump thinks about me. He doesn't know who I am. I don't need Trump to know who I am. I don't care who Trump invites to the White House, generally speaking. That's where I think the problem is with the Tucker Carlsons and the Alex Jones and all. They're upset that Trump is inviting people and not them. I don't care about access. I've never cared about it. So, like, I mean, I don't know enough about Mark Levin to have an opinion on Mark Levin. However, Megyn Kelly seems to think that Mark Levin was a genius. Megyn Kelly seemed to think that Mark Levin was one of the greatest commentators in American history. That's her own words, by the way. She interviewed Mark Levin on her channel. And she said how much respect she had for him just 2 years ago. Now Megyn Kelly is telling you that he's the worst thing that's ever happened and no one should ever take him seriously. Now, I don't like Lindsey Graham. Don't care about Lindsey Graham. But I understand why Trump keeps Lindsey Graham close, because Lindsey Graham kisses his ass. So, but ultimately, yeah, I don't care what, what Trump, who he has at the White House and all that. Doesn't matter to me. Bystander Syndrome says, Jeremy, favorite Jeremy, by the way, if we're winning, why we move our Patriot missiles out of Ukraine? Why did we move them out of South Korea and now Taiwan has to sue for peace? Stop burying your head in the sand. I don't know the answers to that question, and neither do you, and neither does any podcast, bro, that you're listening to. Like, so anybody, like, the honest answer is I don't know. And any podcast, bro, that tells you that they know is lying to you. So your comment about me burying my head in the sand is essentially you saying, will you please make up some shit so you can pretend you know what you're talking about, like all the other fucking losers out there? No, I don't know the answer to the question. So I'll just tell you I don't know the answer to the question. But other podcast bros will tell you that they know every answer to everything. So, Waffle Master says, Panicans don't want eggs. They want omelets. They're just too dumb to realize omelets are made out of eggs, which is why they freak out when you crack the eggs to make what they want. Correct. Let me see. Podcasters who are now military strategy experts. That's the thing, man. Every time something happens, everybody becomes an expert on that topic online. They're like, well, I'm pretty much an expert on this. You're like, no, you're not. No, you're not. And one of the toughest things for people online to do is to say, I don't know. When they're faced with a question, they are terrified to say to the audience, I don't know. So they make some shit up to make it sound like they know what they're talking about. Or they'll simply just do a Google search and get an AI response. They'll change up a few of the words in the AI response so that they're not reading it word for word to make it sound like they know what they're talking about. But the reality of it is they don't know. But they don't want you to believe that they don't know. They need you to believe that they have every answer of everything. Welcome to the internet. I'll be your guide. Bystander Syndrome says, is Glenn Beck the dude that publicly cried when he was denied Israeli citizenship? And then, lol, why you skip my chats? Must have touched a nerve. What? Dude. God. Okay, let me pull this up. So, okay. Here's what I have to do on Rumble, okay? Versus what I'm looking at on my screen. Okay, StreamYards automatically populates all super chats for me on their system. Rumble's UI does not allow Rumble's super chats to be populated on StreamYards. Therefore, Rumble UI is not integrated into StreamYards. Therefore, I don't see the super chats initially over there. Nobody's skipping your fucking super chats. So the fact that you feel that I am skipping your super chats, I don't skip any fucking thing. But because you are so programmed to think that because I would rather read $100 and $50 super chats before your $2 super chat, I must be fucking skipping your shit. Maybe get more money if you want your shit read before somebody else's $50 super chat, okay? Fucking hell. It's like, oh, he's skipping. I'm literally posting it for every single person to see your fucking comment right there. By the way, this Rumble rant, Rumble stats, that is an extension that is not part of Rumble that I had to download in order to keep Rumble rants logged because Rumble has such a shitty UI. Do you have any other questions about me skipping your super chats? I fucking hate people that are so brain broken by thinking everything is like out to get them. Ooh, Jeremy's skipping super chats. Fuck off. Miniature Ron thinks says that Tucker brother video is what Beardo sees when a Rudolph and Snoopy are talking to each other. Zero Gun Rivals says Jeremy skips the super chats. I don't send because I'm a freeloader. I respect that. John Wayne for 20. So, like, I can't highlight a Rumble comment like this because Rumble's UI is not integrated into StreamYards. I would if I could, but I can't. So many of these panic and doomers are not applying delayed gratification because they've all been conditioned with a lifetime of politics as usual. They all want immediate economic relief without long-term economic security. Well said. TikTok generation. Brain Rot says, Beardo's curious if Glenn Beck's carpet matches the drapes. I hate you for saying that. 8 o'clock says, Jeremy, have you seen that they're making a remake of Man on Fire? They're going to ruin it. I know. Very sad because Man on Fire is one of the greatest movies ever made, in my opinion. And the fact that they're remaking that is I won't even probably watch it. Lapco says, why would I waste my money on low IQ hat when a G&G hat gets the same message across with fewer letters? Now that's a good one. That's good. Random commentator, he says, what's your prediction for the Florida governor's race? I think Byron Donalds is going to take that. I don't think it's even going to be close. Trump's already endorsed him. I think he's going to be fine. Steel Leg of History says, skip super chat tax. Wyoming Sasquatch says, low tier super chat, skip me. Stormbreaker says, Jeremy always reads my $2 super chats. Becky Proton says, Wani is loaded, but I'm poor. $2 chat. Aaron James says, Byron Donalds equals Florida's next governor. You heard it here first. He absolutely is. C. Soder, is that it? Can we talk about Larry Loomer and Candy? I've got some of that pulled up. I've got to, maybe we'll save that one for the later show, because I'm doing a later show tonight, because the Laura Loomer stuff, I've got to pull all that together because it kind of blew up over this weekend. And Laura Loomer essentially exposed Candace Owens of having extreme ties to Israel lawyers or something like that. And like for all of her anti-Israel stuff. And by the way, I'm just telling you right now, all of your anti-Israel people are fucking frauds, okay? They're all frauds, but they know that they're leaning into people that are stupid enough to believe what they're saying, and it gets them huge clicks. They're all frauds, and they are leaning into the algorithm because the algorithm is rewarding them. I am not pro-Israel. I don't care about Israel. Never been, never gonna go. Have no allegiance to Israel whatsoever. But if you can't see that you are being manipulated by people that do not care, then I can't help you. Scully from 50 says, you can skip my super chat. Thank you for playing the video. Would never skip your super chat, Scully. Thank you so much. I don't believe you. Thank you. Not you, but somebody in the chat. Maximus says, skip super chat tax. Meat Bun says, dang, 2 years of freeloading already? You're damn right. Packing Protons for $1. Thank you, Packing Protons. Appreciate it, as always. Let's see. I'm looking at the Rumble chat now. A complete random says, Jeremy just said he's out to get us. OMG. What the literal fuck? A Man on Fire remake? Says Clancy over in Rumble. Yeah, sad but true. We are getting a Man on Fire remake, and it looks terrible. I think StreamYards is like OBS is biased against Rumble. I don't know about that. I mean, listen, I think that Rumble focuses on Rumble Studio. That's their primary goal. They want people to use Rumble Studio. They want me to, again, this is why last time that I talked to them, I pissed them off because they basically were like, you should use Rumble Studio. I'm like, I don't fucking want to use Rumble Studio. That's why now we have other people from G&G talk to them, because I'm not very good at those negotiation, discussions, which is, we've been talking about Rumble Wallet, and Rumble Wallet has been good, and I appreciate you guys continue to support us on Rumble Wallet. But yeah, so anyway, that their whole thing is wanting people to use Rumble Studio for the ad reads and all of that. What's wrong with Rumble Studio? Oh, I've never tried it. So it's not even, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Rumble Studio at all. It could be great. But I think that's why they don't have integration into platforms like StreamYards and stuff like that, because their focus is Rumble Studio, from what I can tell. But I've heard pretty good things about Rumble Studio from people. But John freaking Murdoch says, Jeremy's not good at negotiating. Say it ain't so. I'm really not, man. I don't know why I'm not. I guess I have to be a little more used car salesman, and I don't know. I'm too blunt for, I guess, negotiations and stuff like that. It didn't work out too well, but it does now. It does now, because we have better people working on these things than me. With that said, don't forget, everybody. And we do have an article finally over on geeksandgamers.com, but May 22nd, we are going to be in Savannah, Georgia at a 9line meetup at the 9line headquarters. So I hope you guys will tune in for that. I'm trying to pull up the article now. We have an article on geeksandgamers.com if I can find it. You guys are putting so many damn articles out now, I can't even find it over there. So give me just a second. I'm sure that mods can drop a link to that article here. And we can, you guys have been pushing a lot of content out. I appreciate that. Here we go right here. Here it is. So Geeks and Gamers Georgia Meetup, May 2026, featuring Daughter's Revenge book signing. So we will be at 9 Line. Right there, we've got an article. So hopefully you guys will come hang out with us at the 9 Line headquarters right there. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So get your get your schedules worked out. You can check out the article, which is right there. Jessica just dropped it, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Come out there, support some veterans, support first responders, support geeks and gamers, and looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we are going to have another stream tonight, and then me and Jay are playing video games tonight after that. So make sure you check us out there. Ryan Miller says, it's almost as if Laura exposing Candace is the phrase of every accusation is a confession, and those who preach the loudest have the most to hide every single time. Every single time. Let's see. Waffle Master says, I'd skip my super chat, to be honest. What? I didn't. I said yours, brother. Miniature Front, thank got that one. Stephen Strange says, if you tell Jeremy not to piss into the wind, guess what? Jeremy is going to do it. There's some extent that I won't, but I do like to spite people that tell me not to do things. Aaron James is serious about Creed playing on that cruise with other sweet bands. April 2027 gives time to prep. Summer 99 cruise leaves from Miami. Aaron, email Tommy at geeksandgamers.com. Tommy at geeksandgamers.com. Email him that information. He's handling all that. So email him what information you have on it. You can tell him that I told you to email that to him. Have him look into it because he's the one working on all that. Cosmortal Comics says, Jeremy skipped my super chat. No, I didn't. Are you fucking with me? Waffle Man says that was sarcasm. I got you. Cosmortal, are you trolling me? Because it didn't show up. Let's see. Don't you dare play Sabaton to close this out. You know what? I'm going to do it now. I'm going to do it. Cosmortal, I don't see it. I think you're trolling me, and I respect it. Let's see. Molly Mellow Yellow says, you sound dumb saying when you're reading. Well, it's because I am dumb. Like, are you just now figuring this out? Are you upset about this? Like, I am dumb. So the fact that I sound dumb when I am dumb means I'm consistent. You're welcome. Okay? And Cellular Dream says, Jeremy is gay. And with that, we're going to end it with Sabaton. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you a little bit later tonight. Have a good evening, and we'll talk to all of you later. Bye, everyone.